Well, it looks like all the markets are tanking today, but don't expect that to be lasting for too long. It's actually a psychological type thing. Um, Basically, when somebody up there like Mario Draghi, the head of the European Central Bank, makes a statement, it could panic the markets. That's really more what happened, the issue there. I know yesterday they said the markets are endorsing Obama because they're rallying. That's the major media line. That was giving me a hint. That was making me change my mind about what was going to happen. But when I saw that thing yesterday that Adam 3176 posted about them releasing results, and it was not from MSNBC, it was from NBC, when they were done on a test page or whatever the hell it was, and they put down Obama's results that he won. I said to myself, because I read extensively on how the major media does the final tabulation, and yeah, I know there's all kinds of statistics, but it did look like in the last week, not so much 2 or 3 weeks ago, in the last week, I mean right after Hurricane Sandy basically, that it seemed like the major media was more going for Obama. But either way, whatever the hell the difference makes. In a way, I'm going to tell you this: Obama's good for the metals because Bernanke's going to be solidly in place, and QE is going to keep going. Now, this one thing I keep thinking is now that we got, well, I can't say one's more of a spender because the Democrats are more social spenders and Republicans are more military industrial complex spenders. Either one spends, but I would think that the budget's going to be broken here again, despite all the mandatory cuts. When the fiscal cliff comes up, they're gonna do some kind of emergency to emergency and all this other garbage. Be very bullish for gold. I hope silver too. I think silver, but I think more so gold than anything. Even though it's a metal that just stands there and doesn't do anything, doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of industrial use, it's still, barbarous relic or not, it's still a lot of people realize it's money. And when it gets wet, I mean, like when everything got flooded under the water over there in the stock markets and they had all these stock certificates flooded, trillions of dollars worth. Well, if you had trillions of dollars worth of gold, it could be underwater for centuries and it's not going to affect it. That's one reason they used it as money way back when, right? It doesn't really fall apart. It doesn't tarnish. It doesn't evaporate. It doesn't react with other things very easily, other metals. It just stays the same. That's how they got to use it as money. It's really just a medium of exchange. I mean, that's what money's supposed to be, right? A medium of exchange. So you want something that doesn't, like, you can't duplicate, you can't mess with, right? That's why kind of gold isn't bad, right? So if they start realizing the toilet paper is getting printed like crazy to keep the government afloat, more people are going to go into gold. Hey, what the hell can I say? But let me just point out what here is. This is Mario Draghi's actual statement. This is dumb now because the way I look at it, it's like this. This actual fact has been known for a while, but when he utters it, it's like the markets go, ah. I mean, that's really what happens. They panic, When he says it, he says something. It's like Bernanke says something, Bernanke got up this morning, says, I don't feel like doing QE. Everything would tank. It's like, it's crazy. One guy says something, but the fundamentals are still there. They're going to print more money. But he said data suggests economic slowdown has reached Germany. So that was a lot why the markets turned around, because very, very early this morning they were going up. I don't know. I guess news over Barack Obama. I can care less, though, to tell you the truth. I just wanted Gary Johnson to win. But, you'd have to be smoking a crack pipe to think he's going to win. But I thought he'd get 2% or something, maybe, hopefully. But God, I don't know. Well, anyway, people just want to stay red team, blue team. That's the way they think. I guess maybe I'm like a hippie, too, because I'm a revolutionary, right? I mean, hey, the hippie movement in the 60s was to question the establishment. Well, it looks like the establishment is red team, blue team. So the 99% go with the red team, blue team. So anyway, and that was my last video about I'm proud to be a 1%er, so to hell with it. Now, if you're looking at the live markets here on Kitco from our market maker, not the actual spot price, which is actually on CME, as David Morgan points out, well, silver's tanking pretty well, but You know, the good news is, and I'm going to tell you this is good news because this means Bernanke's going to have to do something or somebody's going to have to do something. The Dow is tanking. It's going below 13,000. Now, actually, I think this is too early for the real tanking yet. This isn't like a 20% move now, obviously. You know, you're talking a 2% move, 2.3% move, or whatever. A 20% move is going to be like, you know, a couple thousand points, right? So that's going to be your crash. I don't think that's coming up for a while. I think it's going to be coming up in 2013. But what I'm hoping to do, like I said, I'm hoping that these metals fly up a lot more in anticipation. So, like you said, you know, one of the golden rules out there is buy the rumor. You know, buy the rumor. And I think the rumor is that gold's going to fly during the fiscal cliff. Maybe silver too. Now, with Obama in office, you know, the wild card I keep thinking about is this war with Iran. You know, and actually I want to review a couple things about with Lindsey Williams because now I've been thinking a little harder about some things that he said. And, you know, I think this Mr. X, I think he's legit. I'm not, I think he's of Jewish descent too because he doesn't really, he said something about Obama being a Muslim or something. He might be a little bit, you know, I don't know, scared of that or something like that. But I think what he was giving him as information, I don't know if he was actually giving him wingers, like totally off the wall things that he would throw in there that were wrong on purpose. I think what was going on was that he may have been miscalculating something because Netanyahu really did want to go to war with Iran. He was all for it. And the only thing that was stopping him was actually the Israeli Mossad and also some people in the United States. Probably more Brzezinski than Obama, I would imagine. But I think it was actually internally in Israel that Netanyahu was stopped from going to war with Iran. But if war with Iran would have happened, oil would have flew up through the roof fast. And I think the whole situation with gold would have went up a lot too. Gold always goes up during tensions in the Middle East. But you see, like when Lindsey Williams is getting this information from this Mr. X, well, the guy doesn't know 100% what's going on too. He doesn't know. So it kind of like tells you like what good is the damn information. But, you know, I could tell you that it was really hanging on a thread. That war with Iran almost already happened like a year ago, 2 years ago. It was very close. Very, very close. A lot of internal strife amongst the Israeli leadership. So, you know, there's other people that held back Netanyahu. So it could have happened. It was very close. Now, like I said, if that happened, the whole scenario with gold and silver would be much, much different today. Gold and silver would be a lot higher and oil would be a lot higher and food would be a lot higher. So I don't want to totally discredit this guy all the way because I've been thinking about this because really no elite does know. You know, let me put it this way. Remember John Corazine? He went broke with MF Global, right? He was like big guy over there in Goldman Sachs and all that, you know, New Jersey State governor and all this garbage, right? Very intelligent. And you know, he's right into the game with trading. I'm talking John Corazine, but this is an example. He made a bet on some, I don't know what it was, but some Euro bonds. I forgot what it was. I read it a while ago. But he lost the bet. But supposedly he knew how it was going to play out. But he got screwed, right? And the whole thing went down, right? So, I mean, not everybody who has inside information has inside information. Even the best of the best gets screwed up. Like Jesse Livermore, who wrote that book, what happened to that guy? He went broke. He went broke. You know, the greatest trader of all time went broke, right? So, the best of the best don't even always know, too. But, you know, one thing I want to count on is this. This is like Lindsey Williams put out about it before, but this I can't overemphasize this, so I want to say it again. Ben Bernanke's speech on November 21st, way back in 2002, 10 years ago. But don't forget it. These things have already happened. And, you know, I put this out of here like the main talking points. Lindsey Williams was talking about them, but it's right on there in Wikipedia. You can look it up. It's very easy. Bring interest rates to zero. He did it. Buy securities from the banks to expand the Federal Reserve balance sheet. He's done that. Increase the money supply. He's done that, but it's being held at the banks, so you're not seeing its effects just yet. Buy U.S. debt. QE1, QE2, QE3. He's going on QE3. Devalue the dollar. That has really not happened yet. It's not even happened in relation to gold that much. It has happened somewhat, but not that much. That is the next key. Devalue the dollar. You see, if they print more money this next time and they break all these budgets that they said ironclad, we mandate you're going to stay within budgets, you know, the fiscal cliff. Well, they could maybe say, screw this fiscal cliff. I don't care if we said it has to be by law. We're going to make a new law. That's what I think is going to happen. And you know what that means? Investors will lose faith in the dollar, devalue the dollar. So I think these five points are postulates. So ergo, you know, what's left? Precious metals, hard assets. So that's why your silver and gold investments are very important. It still stays on. You know, I know today you're seeing it getting hammered, but like I said, I think it has a lot to do with just Mario Draghi saying this and the crap that's coming up with Greece and all this other wonderful stuff. But it ain't going to last. There's going to be other news that's going to overshadow that and drive the metals up. It's going to be a pretty volatile market, but I think the direction is generally up. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Volatility, but the general direction is on the way up. It's like I can't possibly see, you know, not only are we having QE1 and QE3 ad infinitum, and, you know, even though the money's being held by the banks, that last step is going to be devalue the dollar. So it will happen. It will happen. Like I said, I don't know about the Lindsey Williams being totally off about a lot of stuff, because I think this guy he's getting information from, it could be very good inside information. But like I said, even John Corzine had very good inside information too, and he lost a major bet, didn't he? Didn't he? You know, if I look at John Corzine, I see a very bright individual, very shrewd trader. He actually was somebody that actually went onto the trading floor and was, you know, not just being like, hey, I'm up here in my office, I'm not going to bother with what's going on. He took an interest. He had a passion for it. And you know, considering his position, he should have known what was going to happen with that major bet he did, but he didn't know. So much for insiders, right? Sometimes they just don't know. But the postulates, the axioms, or whatever, that's what Ben Bernanke said in his speech. Now we know, guess what? Obama's elected, right? So Ben Bernanke's going to rule, right? So look at number 5, devalue the dollar. So that's why you're going to stick in with gold and silver. Don't worry about what happens right now in the near term. I don't think it's going to go down like as crazy as people think it is. I don't even know. And you know, one of these things I actually sometimes go by is that I look at that Fibonacci too. And you look at the pattern that's happened over the really, really long range. I don't have a chart up here, but if you follow what Endless Mountain might say, it probably won't break down to a tremendous amount. Just looking at what's going on fundamentally throughout the world too. I think that last pullback we had in the summer, that was the final pullback. Although I expected originally it was going to go to 24, 25. Well, it went to 26, and it just bounced around at 26 for a hell of a long time, right? I think that was it. If things fall apart this time, they're going to have to do, I don't know what's going to happen. I think you're going to see the dollar go off a cliff or some garbage, because the only way out of that situation is going to be massive money printing and stimulation to the max, which means that that's the exact opposite of what they mandated by law with restricting the budget, which they kind of dub as the fiscal cliff, right? So, postulate number 5 from Ben Bernanke, and since Obama's elected, Ben Bernanke's his policies are going to be firmly in place. Postulate number 5 says devalue the dollar. So stay in your metals.